Who was the greater composer, Mozart or Beethoven? This question has puzzled classical music enthusiasts for centuries. Welcome to the exploration of an age-old debate that has intrigued and perplexed the minds of music lovers, historians, and scholars alike for generations. The question at the heart of this debate is a simple one, yet it carries the weight of centuries of musical tradition and history. It's about the prowess of two towering figures in the realm of classical music, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Ludwig van Beethoven. When we think of classical music, these two names undoubtedly come to mind. Their contributions to the world of music are monumental and have shaped the course of musical history. Mozart, the child prodigy, dazzled the European courts with his precocious talent and extraordinary compositions. His music, characterized by its elegance, complexity, and emotional depth, has left an indelible mark on the world of classical music. On the other hand, we have Beethoven, the passionate innovator, whose music transcended the classical era and ushered in the Romantic period. His compositions, filled with dramatic contrasts and a depth of emotion hitherto unexpressed, have continued to resonate with audiences around the world. But who was the greater composer? How do we measure greatness? Is it by the number of symphonies composed, or the impact of their music on subsequent generations? Or is it about their influence on other composers, or their ability to innovate and push musical boundaries? In this video, we aim to explore these questions and more. We will delve into the lives and works of these two musical giants, comparing their styles, their influences, and their impacts. We will not just explore the music they composed, but also the times they lived in, their struggles, their triumphs, and their legacies. This is not just a comparison of two composers, but a journey into the heart of classical music itself. It's about understanding the power of music to inspire, to move, to innovate, and to transcend. So shall we delve into the lives of these musical geniuses and attempt to answer this question? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, a name synonymous with classical music, was born in 1756 in Salzburg. He was a prodigy, an exceptional talent who began composing music at an age when most children were just learning to read. His father, Leopold Mozart, a well-known composer himself, recognized his son's talent early on. Leopold dedicated most of his time nurturing this gift, and by the age of 5, little Wolfgang was already performing for royalty. A significant part of Mozart's charm was his ability to compose music that was intricate yet accessible. His works were not merely technical displays of virtuosity, but were imbued with a deep emotional resonance that struck a chord with the listener. With over 800 works to his name, Mozart's contributions to symphony, sonata, and opera have been monumental. In his short life of just 35 years, Mozart revolutionized classical music. His symphonies were grander, his operas more dramatic, and his sonatas more intricate than those of his contemporaries. His music was a perfect balance of form and emotion, a testament to his genius. One of Mozart's most significant contributions was to the opera. His ability to combine music and drama was unparalleled. Operas like The Magic Flute and Don Giovanni are still celebrated today, their timeless stories brought to life by Mozart's captivating music. Mozart's influence in the world of classical music is undeniable. His compositions set the standard for future generations of musicians. His music brought a new level of sophistication and emotional depth to the classical genre. His works continue to be performed, studied, and loved by people all around the globe. Despite his early death, Mozart's legacy is alive and thriving. His music, characterized by its elegance and emotional depth, continues to touch hearts worldwide. From the concert halls of Vienna to the music classrooms in Sydney, from the grand operas to the intimate piano sonatas, Mozart's genius resonates, proving that true talent and passion can indeed stand the test of time. Born in 1770, Ludwig van Beethoven is the composer who bridged the classical and romantic eras of music. Born in the city of Bonn, young Beethoven was pushed into music by his father, a man who saw in his son the chance to mold a prodigy akin to Mozart. His father's harsh and rigorous training, though challenging, did lay the groundwork for Beethoven's extraordinary musical talent. However, Beethoven's life was far from easy. He faced numerous personal struggles, the most significant of which was his deteriorating hearing. By his late 20s, Beethoven started experiencing hearing loss, and by the end of his life, he was almost completely deaf. One might think that this would spell the end for a musician, but not for Beethoven. In fact, Beethoven's struggle with deafness had a profound influence on his compositions. It's said that as his hearing declined, his music became more introspective and personal. He began to break away from the traditional rules and norms of classical music, experimenting with new forms and structures. His music took on a depth and complexity that was unprecedented at the time. His Symphony No. 3, Eroica, for instance, was revolutionary in its scale and emotional intensity. It was far longer than any symphony before and was seen as a turning point, marking the beginning of the Romantic era in music. Beethoven's late string quartets, composed when he was almost entirely deaf, are another testament to his innovation. They pushed the boundaries of musical form, introducing elements that were avant-garde for the time. These works are now widely regarded as some of the greatest achievements in the history of music. Beethoven's music was not always appreciated in his time. It was often seen as too challenging, too complex. But his refusal to conform, his determination to create music on his own terms, transformed the course of music history. Beethoven's work, known for its passion and complexity, revolutionized the face of classical music. His legacy as an innovator endures, inspiring generations of composers and musicians who followed in his footsteps. Now, having understood their backgrounds, let's compare Mozart and Beethoven's musical styles. Mozart, the child prodigy, was a master of form. His compositions are symmetrical and balanced, with every note and phrase meticulously planned and executed. He was known for his ability to create beautiful melodies with a clear structure, resulting in a smooth, flowing sound. Mozart's music is often described as effortless due to its seamless transitions and the natural progression of its melodies. His compositions, from symphonies to operas, are imbued with a sense of joy and optimism, reflecting his own vivacious personality. On the other hand, Beethoven, the innovative genius, was a rule breaker. He expanded the classical form, pushing its boundaries to accommodate his creative vision. His music is characterized by dramatic contrasts, powerful melodies, and a sense of struggle and triumph. Beethoven's compositions are emotionally charged, filled with passion and intensity. He often used dissonance and unexpected transitions to create tension and suspense. His music, from his symphonies to his piano sonatas, is imbued with a sense of struggle, reflecting his own turbulent life. When it comes to influences, Mozart was heavily influenced by the works of Johann Christian Bach and Joseph Haydn. He also drew inspiration from Italian opera, which is evident in his own operatic works. Mozart's music, in turn, influenced many composers, including Beethoven himself. Beethoven, while influenced by Mozart, was also inspired by the works of Haydn and the ideals of the Enlightenment. His music represents a bridge between the classical and romantic periods, paving the way for composers like Schubert and Wagner. Beethoven's influence can be heard in the works of countless composers who followed him. Despite their differences, both Mozart and Beethoven made significant contributions to the world of classical music. Mozart's symphonies, operas, and chamber music set a standard for composition that many have sought to emulate. His music has a timeless quality, appealing to audiences of all ages. Beethoven, with his innovative approach, expanded the possibilities of what music could express. His symphonies, particularly his ninth, broke new ground in terms of scale and complexity. His string quartets and piano sonatas are considered some of the greatest pieces of music ever written. In conclusion, Mozart and Beethoven, while different in style, were both masters of their craft. Their music, filled with beauty and emotion, continues to captivate audiences centuries after their deaths. Their influence on classical music is immeasurable, and their works remain some of the most beloved and respected in the world. Both Mozart and Beethoven had distinct styles, and their music continues to inspire musicians around the globe. Beyond their music, Mozart and Beethoven have had a profound impact on music and culture. Each composer in their own right has shaped the course of classical music, setting the stage for future generations of musicians. Let's start with Mozart, the prodigy. His music was a reflection of the elegance and grandeur of the classical era. Mozart's compositions, with their perfect balance and symmetry, became the gold standard for musical form. His work inspired composers like Haydn and Schubert, who looked to his symphonies and sonatas as models for their own compositions. Mozart's music also permeated popular culture, becoming a symbol of refinement and sophistication. Turning to Beethoven, the innovator, his music marked a turning point in the history of classical music. His bold, expressive compositions pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible in music. Beethoven's influence can be seen in the works of composers like Brahms and Wagner, who embraced his dramatic style and innovative use of harmony. Beethoven's music continues to resonate with audiences today, embodying the struggle and triumph of the human spirit. Beyond the concert hall, the impact of Mozart and Beethoven extends into our everyday lives. Their music has been used in films, television shows, and advertisements, helping to shape our collective cultural identity. The melodies of Mozart's Eine kleine Nachtmusik or Beethoven's Für Elise are instantly recognizable, demonstrating the enduring appeal of their music. Moreover, both composers have left a lasting legacy in the field of music education. Mozart's piano sonatas are often used to teach students about form and melody, while Beethoven's symphonies offer lessons in orchestration and thematic development. Their influence extends even beyond the realm of classical music. Rock bands, jazz musicians, and electronic artists have all drawn inspiration from Mozart and Beethoven, reinterpreting their works in new and innovative ways. In conclusion, the impact of Mozart and Beethoven is immeasurable. They have not only shaped the course of classical music, but have also influenced our broader cultural landscape. Their music transcends time, influencing generations of musicians and music lovers alike. So, who was the greater composer, Mozart or Beethoven? The answer is subjective. As we've journeyed through the lives and works of these two musical giants, we've seen that each brought something unique to the classical repertoire. Mozart, the prodigy, honed his craft from a tender age, creating music that was intricate, yet deeply emotional. His compositions, filled with lightness and beauty, continue to captivate audiences worldwide. Then we have Beethoven, the innovator, whose music was bold and dramatic, reflecting his tumultuous life. He took the classical form and flipped it on its head, adding his own unique signature. His music was a symphony of thunderous peaks and serene valleys, a testament to his ability to convey raw emotion through notes. Each composer's body of work is a testament to their genius, and their influence on classical music is immeasurable. Mozart's work, with its balance, clarity, and sheer beauty, has inspired countless composers, while Beethoven's groundbreaking approach to composition and his ability to imbue music with deep emotional resonance has left a lasting impact on the world of music. But to try to declare one as the greater composer would be to miss the point. The beauty of music lies in its diversity, in the different emotions, stories, and ideas it can convey. Mozart and Beethoven, in their own unique ways, used their music to express the breadth of human experience. Their works are not just pieces of music, they are windows into their souls, reflections of their times, and vessels carrying their messages to future generations. So, as we wrap up this exploration, remember that the choice between Mozart and Beethoven is not a matter of superiority, but of personal preference. It's about what speaks to you, moves you, resonates with your soul. Whether you lean towards Mozart's melody or Beethoven's boldness, one thing is clear. Both composers have left indelible marks on the world of classical music.